I answer with two things. The first is, well, there is a pass mark. You're allowed a certain amount of major non-compliances. I don't give them too much details because as an assessor, as an auditor, you're not allowed to. But there is technically a pass and fail sort of threshold. So good from the customer service perspective is helping the client as much as you can. But I also mirror that with the advice of you should be aiming to get as much as you possibly can and as best or as close to 100% as you possibly can. Because if you're only ever aiming for the bare minimum or a tick box exercise, if you want to call it, then inevitably there are going to be some security holes that you may regret later on down the line as you grow as a business. Interestingly enough, I would say it's the techie people that are like, yeah, whatever, cool, move on to the next one, because they do it so regularly, because it's a yearly thing. And also 9 times out of 10, it's a business objective that they knew they were going to achieve, so there was no pressure on them. The other type of people who actually are very thankful are the non-techies. We have seen people who are not in the IT roles or the compliance roles get given the task of helping the company achieve cyber essentials. And they are so over the moon when you give them their certificate that they actually almost come across as more passionate about cyber security. And that means for us as auditors, Cyber Essentials not only helps the company get more secure, but helps the people that are involved in the process be more cyber aware. Technically you can do that, and I have no doubt there have been people that have got through by blagging it. However, our assessors are trained to notice things, and some questions are in there to see if you trip yourself up. One question might be, how many remote workers do you have? And if you say you have 2, but later on you claim that your scope out of scopes anybody who works in your Europe office or whatever it may be, and you claim in that scope that none of them in the Europe office works from home, then that contradicts the fact that you said there were 2 remote workers earlier. Our assessors are trained to look for those type of things, and they will call you out if they think that, not necessarily that you're lying, because that's a bit harsh, but they will call out and say, this contradicts this, which one is it? There's also the fact that, again, kind of like some of my answers before, you do roll the dice, because you get cyber insurance if you certify your whole organisation against Cyber Essentials. If a data breach then happens, and during your insurance paperwork and all the investigations, it finds out that you lied on your Cyber Essentials certificate, your insurance is going to be invalid, right? Not to mention you're getting Cyber Essentials most likely because you want to contract with another provider. That provider probably wants to subject you to random audits, and if they come in and check and it turns out you lied on your Cyber Essentials, then of course that breaks down the relationship. It's worth noting as well, as a CB, we do also have the ability to revoke certificates. So if we find out that you lied to us, even after we gave you the certificate, we can actually take it away. The number one reason for failing is not answering the question properly, not reading and understand what the question is actually asking. For example, if one of the questions asks you to confirm the operating system of all of your devices, that does mean all of your devices. If you have mobile phones in your organisation boundary, tablets, all that kind of stuff, you need to make sure you are including in all of that. Yes, you can go to IASME's website. They are the people that certify all the certifying body companies to offer Cyber Essentials, and you can download the questionnaire way in advance of you having to actually do it, so you know what's coming, and that gives you time to prepare. The second thing is you can get in touch with any organisation that offers Cyber Essentials, and 9 times out of 10 you will find someone who's willing to give you advice and guidance. It might be for a price, but the guidance can really help and mean there is nothing that's going to shock you when the actual assessment comes along. There's also no rule that says you can't do Cyber Essentials multiple times in a year. Why wait a whole year for your renewal to come round? It is relatively cheap for something like £300 to £500 depending on your size. If you want to make sure you're on track, or you want to keep on pushing back your renewal date, do it every 6 months. Do it every 3 months. These are little hacks that you can do to become better at Cyber Essentials. And I would say as well, if you do upgrade it to Cyber Essentials Plus, you see more of the benefits than just doing basic. It's quite an interesting topic actually that gets debated along with Cyber Essentials assessors in the community. It used to be the case that we would scan people's home routers way back in the day before the guidance became a bit clearer. We don't do that now, to clarify, and I don't think we really properly did it to begin with. But what we tend to do is focus on the device itself. So we look at the device's security that's on the home network, making sure that firewalls are enabled, making sure that they react properly to viruses that are being downloaded and that sort of chat. So we focus on the device. We do also love to see mobile device management in place and also VPNs, because if you have those, then obviously you can benefit from your company's security rather than relying on your home network. You can, however, they are a little bit more strict when it comes to scoping. If you want cyber insurance, you have to certify your whole organisation against Cyber Essentials. So that means it doesn't matter what departments you've got, what segmentation you've got, your whole business has to be included to get that insurance. But if you wanted to be clever with scope and out of scope a certain department or out of scope a certain office or whatever it may be, then you need to make sure those are completely segregated from the main network that's in scope. So if you wanted to out of scope your HR department for whatever reason, then what you would need to do is make sure that your HR guys sit on a completely separate part of your organisation with no connection to any of the others. And obviously that wouldn't work for a HR department that's working properly. So go for the whole organisation. It's best in all circumstances, I would say.